Now, the rain and the storms we got overnight likely kept home and business owners in Ellicott City awake, wondering whether there could be yet another flood. Dozens of people had just come out for a public hearing last night to talk about a $50 million plan to prevent floods in the future. WMAR 2 News' Megan Knight is live in Ellicott City. Megan, what are people saying about this plan?
Well, Christian, there are a lot of different thoughts when it comes to this proposal. It's being put forth by Howard County Executive Alan Kittleman, and it includes tearing down about 10 buildings here on Lower Main Street where we're standing. And the idea of demolishing these buildings, which many consider historic, is the reason that why not everybody is on board with this plan. It would cost about $50 million, and a lot of people coming out to that public hearing last night, both for and against this proposal. It would tear down about 10 buildings, which Howard County Councilman John Weinstein says 4 of them are beyond repair at this point. One of the buildings, which is home to Tea on the Tiber, is thought to be connected to George Ellicott. He's one of the founders of Ellicott City, so that building could possibly be disassembled and then reassembled somewhere else on Main Street. Preservation Maryland, they've been very vocal about their concerns over this plan, saying they don't believe demolishing the buildings will have a significant impact on reducing floodwaters. But Beth Woodruff, who lives here in Old Ellicott City, told the council last night this plan is about saving lives, not buildings.
Dr. Ball, your kids are about my son's age. Imagine having to put life jackets on them and hope and pray to the universe that you're going to be able to get them out okay.
We want to really make sure that we understand what will happen once those buildings come down, the effect that will have, and whether there aren't other better possibilities.
Now, some 30 business owners here along Main Street have signed a letter urging the county to move forward with these plans. The county council is expected to vote on this issue sometime next month, and if it is passed, then demolition and creating a riverwalk to reduce the floodwaters would be completed by the end of next year. We're live in Old Ellicott City. I'm Megan Knight, WMAR 2 News.
6:06 right now. Hundreds of students in our area started the school year in hot classrooms with no air conditioning. While that problem went away as the weather cooled down, there's still another issue for local kids: crowded classrooms. WMAR 2 News' Mark Roper joins us live from the Baltimore County Public School headquarters with a look at how the county is working to address that issue. Mark.
Good morning, Christian. Administrators here are looking ahead and wondering what the next decade will look like, and they recognize it'll be very crowded for high school students, and that's because Baltimore County public high schools are expected to have a shortfall of 1,700 seats in the classroom by the year 2027. So they're hosting 3 public meetings to talk about how to solve the problem. The first one takes place tonight at Newtown High School. More than 3,000 students, parents, relatives, and neighbors responded to an online survey in July. And when asked if the county should fill all existing seats at high schools, even if that means redistricting to fill those seats, more than half said no. As far as building new schools and capital improvement projects, most people seem to support the idea as long as it provides relief for overcrowded schools and reduces the need for redistricting. Of course, building new schools comes with a cost, and people are divided on how much they're willing to pay for it. About half say the county should spend around $500 to $600 million on fixing the problem, while others say the county should spend between $300 and $400 million on overcrowding. And if you can't make it to the public meeting tonight, another online survey goes online today, and that will be available until October 7th. We are live in Towson. Mark Roper, WMAR 2 News.
Okay, thanks, Mark. New this morning, UMBC is facing a serious allegation. 2 women accuse the university of covering up sexual assaults that they say occurred on campus. The women have filed a civil lawsuit against the university and also the Baltimore County Police Department. They claim the university and the police intimidated survivors of sexual assault, intentionally misclassified rape allegations, and destroyed rape kits. The university has released a statement saying it's committed to safety and respect at the university. A listening session about these allegations is set for this coming Thursday at UMBC. It is 6:08 right now. Big changes could be coming for people who drive through Baltimore City. A city councilman is pushing to lower the speed limit. WMAR 2 News' Chanel Pearman is live in the News Wrangler. Chanel, how big a drop is this new proposal calling for?
Well, Christian, right now we're driving on York Road where the speed limit is 30 miles per hour. And if this bill is passed, it will drop the speed limit on main roads like this one down to 25 miles per hour. Now, the idea is to help reduce accidents on city streets. This legislation is one of two bills that were introduced at Monday's City Council meeting. If passed, the bill will cap the speed limit to 25 miles per hour on several main streets like York Road. The maximum speed limit for local roads and neighborhoods would drop down to 20 miles per hour, and alleyways would be capped at 15. Now, the other piece of legislation that was introduced would repeal a law that doesn't allow playing in streets. Councilman Ryan Dorsey introduced the bill and says children shouldn't feel that they can interact freely where they live. So this proposal is in the early stages, and drivers could get the opportunity to speak out about these potential changes once City Council members create a public hearing meeting. Live in North Baltimore, Chanel Pearman, WMAR 2 News.
6:09 now, new this morning. A new poll is taking a look at some of our state's biggest issues as we get closer to Election Day. 800 people surveyed by the Goucher poll, and 64% of them approve of Governor Larry Hogan's time in office. 71% would like to see an increase in the minimum wage to $15 an hour. As for our taxes, more than half of those surveyed said they're too high, and the majority of people in Maryland show support for the legalization of marijuana for recreational use. Right now, there's only medicinal marijuana in the state of Maryland. Now we'll send it over to Chief Meteorologist Annette Charles for a look at Tuesday forecast.
All right, we'll have a cold front associated with the remnants of Florence making its way through here as we go through the rest of the overnight hours. So by tomorrow, we will definitely have lower humidity. We will feel a lot better than what we felt so far. But for today, we're definitely dealing with that humidity up there. We still do have some scattered showers around, not necessarily the thunderstorms at this point, but they could make a comeback as we go into the afternoon. We do have moderate rain now just to the north and south of Savage. So the north of Laurel and the south of Savage this morning continue to make its way to the north and east. More light rain showers happening around Rockaway Beach, around Edgemere, Dundalk, and North Point this morning. And then a last batch of rain back off towards the west there, moving through Deep Creek and Springfield. Again, the remnants of Florence continuing in our area for today. Now let's get a check of the traffic with Lauren.
Thank you, Lynette. There's a water rescue underway in Howard County. It's right on the Anne Arundel County line. You'll need to avoid Furnace Avenue. That's shut down right now between Race Road and River Road. Additional flooding impacting the commute on Hanover Road at Race Road, and you will also need to avoid Meadow Ridge Road. That's shut down due to high water right between Route 1 and Business Parkway. Taking a look at a crash on 295. It blocks the southbound shoulder approaching Route 100. It's still slow, but delays are improving. The average speed 38 miles per hour. There's also a water main break we're following in Baltimore County. It has shut down Overlea High School today, but if you are traveling in the Overlea area, avoid Kenwood Avenue at East Avenue. No delays in 95, 895, or 83, but the Beltway is slow here in the west side outer loop at Liberty Road.
6:11 right now. The woman accusing President Trump's Supreme Court nominee of sexual assault is now speaking out, when both will testify before the Senate, and what the White House is saying about the whole issue. Plus, more than 1 million people still waiting to see what's left of their homes after Florence blew through. Now local companies and local rescue crews are pitching in to help those victims. And Hollywood hit the red carpet for the Emmys last night. Let's know who the big winners were. And there was also one big moment that stole the show. Now 6:12 on this Tuesday morning. Welcome back into Good Morning Maryland. It is 6:14 right now. Some top stories for you. The Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh and Christine Blasey Ford, the woman who's accusing him of sexually assaulting her when they were both back in high school, will publicly testify before the U.S. Senate next week. It would likely be a make or break moment for Kavanaugh's nomination. There was a planned vote for this Thursday that would have moved that nomination forward. That has now been delayed. We are now less than 2 months before the midterm elections. Female voters and candidates are playing critical roles in these elections. The White House this morning treading lightly.
I want him to go in at the absolute highest level. And I think to do that, you have to go through this. If it takes a little delay, it'll take a little delay.
If Judge Kavanaugh has lied about what happened, that would be disqualifying.
Yeah, on Monday, Kavanaugh released a strong denial of that allegation. The hearing, by the way, is scheduled for Monday morning at 10 o'clock. It is 6:15 right now. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has announced that the United States is going to limit the admission of refugees to 30,000 in the year 2019, down from 45,000 in fiscal year 2018. The cap had been 110,000 when President Trump took office, so the 30,000 number would be the smallest cap for the refugee program since it was created back in 1980. The new numbers reflect the president's push to accept fewer immigrants overall, including refugees. The approach has already driven down refugee admissions to their lowest level in more than a decade. 6:16 right now. A child is the third victim to die in a murder-suicide that happened early yesterday morning in Montgomery County. This is in the Colesville area. Police say 57-year-old Yong Kim killed his wife, who was 48, and then shot all three of their children. 10-year-old Andy Kim later died of his injuries at a local hospital. He's got two siblings that were both shot. They remain in critical condition this morning. Today is the funeral for the Morgan State graduate who was shot and killed earlier this month. Tracy Carrington's funeral, except for the Joseph Brown Funeral Home on Fulton Avenue in Baltimore City. Services start at 9:30 this morning. Right now, the murder is unsolved. Baltimore County police say Carrington was targeted as she left the S&S Lounge in the Overley area. Investigators say it's still too early, though, to link her murder to a double murder that she was set to be a witness in. That happened earlier this year. Maryland is providing a lot of help for the southeastern U.S. as people there continue to recover from Hurricane Florence. Howard County's Department of Fire and Rescue Services sent a swiftwater team to North Carolina yesterday morning. 9 crew members heading there to help with those rescues, which are still continuing today. And Tevis Energy in Westminster sending 40,000 gallons of fuel to Virginia and the Carolinas, and crews are trying to deliver that fuel as floodwaters continue to rise.
We run into situations. Yesterday we had our mechanic. We also sent a mechanic down. Him and his the manager were headed to help somebody out, and what should have been a 2.5 hour drive ended up becoming an 8-hour drive.
No word yet on when those crews are going to be able to come back from what they're doing down there in Virginia and North Carolina. 6:18 right now. It's some damage in Cecil County. They'll have a cleanup at Fairhill State Park that's going to start today. The remnants of Hurricane Florence moved through the area yesterday, leaving the damage that you see on your screen. Workers there say there were no injuries, but again, we just saw really strong thunderstorms moving through yesterday and then into the overnight hours.
Exactly. There is different rounds of it. Yesterday we did have a tornado watch that was in effect. Luckily here, though, we did not have any type of tornadoes across the area. We're not getting rid of the remnants anytime soon for today, I should say, but then we'll start to see some changes in the forecast. So that's some good news for us. In terms of the showers and thunderstorms, still lingering as we go through the rest of today. And finally, I can say the sun will come out and add the word tomorrow, as we are going to finally see some light at the end of the tunnel, right? Weather alerts are out there. We do have all the areas here shaded in the green coloring. What are we looking at? Well, we're looking at a flash flood watch that goes until about 6 o'clock this evening. So that means that we do have the potential for flooding once again. So if we get under one of those heavy thunderstorms, then, oh yeah, we're going to be talking about flash flood warnings probably as we head more towards the afternoon, evening time frame. But again, keep it tuned here. We'll have it updated for you. Our goal is to keep you guys safe. The satellite and radar not picking up on a whole lot right now. Again, things starting to die down, which is good. We do have a few light rain showers we can see in portions of Baltimore County headed over towards Harford County, and now another one trying to work its way around Howard County right now, and then another batch of rain developing back off towards the west in western Maryland. But this is pretty much it. These are the remnants of Florence, which is post-tropical at this point. If you are headed to Chi-Town, you can see some scattered thunderstorms, complex, I really should say, of thunderstorms headed that direction. We will have a cold front that moves through, and that cold front is going to be so welcome. You know why? Because it's going to be bringing in some drier air. It's going to be bringing in lower humidity. As we look at the muggy meter, it is up there once again for today, but you can see a little bit of that drop, right, as we head more towards the overnight hours, dropping into the 60s. We'll take it, and then from there, it'll get a little bit lower as well. So we will feel the difference as we head into tomorrow. This morning, it's just quite miserable out there, I tell you. In terms of temperatures, in the 70s. We're 70 in Thurmont right now, more of the same in Westminster. And then we see 76s in Easton and Denton this morning, American Corner. Futurecast picking up on a few gusty conditions for today. Those winds gusting up to about 20, 25 miles an hour, but things will start to wear off as we go throughout the day. And we are going to start to count down, right, our journey to fall. We have 4 days until autumn. That autumnal equinox is definitely going to be in here, as we can see that 7-day forecast looks pretty good. We keep the dry weather in clearing here right through really the weekend. Saturday, we'll take it. Let's get a check of the traffic with Lauren.
Thank you, Lynette. I'm following a water rescue right now in Anne Arundel County. It's right near the Howard County line on Furnace Avenue at River Road. Howard County police also tell me that Furnace Avenue is shut down at Reese Road. Taking a look right now at Meadow Ridge Road, there was flooding that shut it down earlier this morning. That has since reopened between Route 1 and Business Parkway. If you're taking 295, a crash now clear southbound approaching Route 100. Delays are improving. For those of you in Baltimore County, beware of a water main break in Overly. Avoid Kenwood Avenue at East Avenue. Overly High School is closed today as a result. No problems getting into downtown. The tunnels and the JFX both in the green. 695 is not. This is where you'll find the worst congestion this morning. The outer loop going to be sluggish from Liberty Road into Catonsville, showing only a 4-minute delay though on the outer loop from 795 to 95. There is a crash eastbound 70 right at 695, but it's not blocking any lanes at the moment. Christian, over to you.
Thanks, Lauren. Well, lunch today, it's a no-brainer. Nearby restaurants celebrating National Cheeseburger Day coming up. And there's a new condiment that you might want to put on that cheeseburger. Got a lot of people talking. We'll let you know. Ooh, uh-oh. I don't know about that. 6:22 on this Tuesday.
Good morning, Maryland. I'm Elsa M. Today at noon, we'll have you smiling pretty thanks to new dental tech that saves on time and money. And 30 chefs pair off with 30 local farms for a culinary competition. That's today on Midday Maryland.
From all of us here at Watkins Candies, good morning, Maryland.
Oh man, first we had the burgers and now it's Watkins Candies. Look at this. That looks fantastic. Good morning, Watkins Candies. Out there in Parkville, that looks like a delicious shout out. Maybe we can get some of those goodies here into the newsroom sometime this week. I'm just hungry today, I think is what it is. Starving. You can get some airtime for your business, your school, your group, your team. Just record that shout out. Send it over to lauren.cook@WMAR.com. We'd love to see you here on Good Morning Maryland. Big night for Game of Thrones. At 70th Emmy Awards last night, the HBO series took home 9 awards, including the big one, Outstanding Drama Series, stealing back its title. Some other big winners were Amazon's series, The Marvelous Ms. Maisel, and also Saturday Night Live. Both of those shows fell close behind, though. Game of Thrones each got 8 Emmys. And Betty White was a big highlight of the night. The former star of Golden Girls was honored for her more than 80 years in show business. She's won a total of 8 Emmys in her time in Hollywood. The 70th Emmy Awards also had its share of surprises. The moment that stole the night for a lot of people, Glenn Wise accepting the speech for Best Director. He won the award for directing the Oscars, but he started his speech by paying tribute to his mother, who he said just passed away a couple weeks ago, which left the audience in surprise, though, in awe, his surprise proposal to his girlfriend that shocked everybody who was watching.
You wonder why I don't like to call you my girlfriend? Because I want to call you my wife.
Try topping that proposal, gentlemen. I don't know. That's a good one. He's a Hollywood award show veteran, by the way, a veteran director, and also a graduate of the University of Maryland. That proposal was heartfelt, and of course, as you can see, she said yes to the applause of everyone there in Hollywood. 6:27 right now. Burger lovers, this day is made for you. Today is National Cheeseburger Day, and all the chains are giving away all kinds of free stuff. Wendy's got free burgers with any purchase, and that lasts throughout the month of September, by the way. You can also get a McDonald's cheeseburger for just $1 if you download the McDonald's app. At Burger King, you can use the app to buy 1 Whopper. You'll get the second Whopper free. Just cheese and ketchup, please. Thank you very much. The sun is finally shining in the Carolinas, but the water levels are continuing to rise after what's left of Florence moved through. We'll have a live report from North Carolina on the conditions, the ongoing water rescues, and some weather records that are still being broken when we come back on the Tuesday edition of Good Morning Maryland.
You're watching the station that's working for you, WMAR 2 News. Now, Good Morning Maryland.
About 6:30 now on this Tuesday morning. Good morning, Maryland. I'm Christian Schaefer. Ashley James has the day off. We have one school closing that we need to let you know about today. Overly High School. If your child goes to Overly, that school is closed today. There's a water main break in that area. Meanwhile, we're still feeling the remnants of Florence moving through our area. Let's get a check of the forecast for today with Chief Meteorologist Annette Charles.
All right, Kristen, yes, we still do have the remnants of Florence, and with that, packed a punch yesterday with some of those thunderstorms that rolled through, and then the overnight thunderstorms that rolled through as well. So with that, we're adding up the rainfall totals once again, and with that, we do have plenty of flooding concerns for today. Still dealing with a flash flood watch until 6 o'clock this afternoon for all the areas they are shaded in the green coloring, and radar right now picking up on a few light scattered showers lingering still. We can see this between Columbia and Savage this morning, headed towards Elk Ridge, moving off to the north and east, and not a whole lot of activity at this point, but as the day goes on, we will have some more scattered showers and thunderstorms that could put down a lot of rain, and that's why we do have that flash flood watch in effect until 6 o'clock this evening. The potential for flooding is there. Fort Meade's temperature coming in right around 72, and that dew point's at 72 as well. So with that, we do have some patchy fog, and once again, temperatures will be in the upper 70s to right around 80. Let's get a check of the traffic now with Lauren.
Thank you, Lynette. There's a water rescue in Anne Arundel County, right on the Howard County line. I just spoke with the fire department. They tell me that Furnace Avenue is still shut down at River Road. A vehicle became disabled in the high waters. Fortunately, no injuries are reported. I'll bring the very latest developments as they become available. There is a crash just reported in Glen Burnie, Ritchie Highway at Ordnance Road. If you're traveling Interstate 97, it's really slowing down. Southbound past Route 100, the average speed just 11 miles per hour. The speed check into Baltimore shows no problems getting through the tunnels. The JFX is clear. The Harrisburg Expressway up to speed. 695 is a different story, though. The outer loop going to be jammed approaching Baltimore National Pike. I'm also tracking a crash in Harford County. It's in Bel Air on Route 543 at Thomas Run Road. Christian?
Thanks, Lauren. Change could be coming to some streets in Baltimore City. Council members want to lower the speed limit. We have WMAR 2 News' Chanel Pearman live this morning in the News Wrangler. Chanel, what can you tell us about these new proposals?
Well, Christian, City Council members are considering two bills, one of which would lower speed limits across the city. Right now, we are driving on York Road where the speed limit is 30 miles per hour. And if this bill is passed, the speed limit on main roads like this one will drop to 25. Now, the idea is to help reduce accidents on city streets. If passed, the bill would reduce speed limits across the city. It would cap the speed limit to 25 miles per hour on several main streets like York Road. And the maximum speed limit for local roads and neighborhoods would drop to 20 miles per hour. And alleyways would be capped at 15. Now, the other piece of legislation that was introduced would repeal a law that doesn't allow playing in streets. Councilman Ryan Dorsey introduced the bills, and he says that children need to feel the need that they can interact freely where they live.
I've hardly ever been in a neighborhood association meeting where somebody wasn't asking for a speed hump on their street. People will drive slower on neighborhood streets, A, if we post lower speed limits on their neighborhood streets, and B, if they're coming from slower moving arterial and collector roads leading into their neighborhood streets.
So these proposed bills are in the early stages, and drivers could get the opportunity to speak out about these potential changes when City Council members create a public hearing meeting. Live in North Baltimore, Chanel Pearman, WMAR 2 News.
Thanks, Chanel. 6:33 right now. When we get heavy rain like we did overnight, business owners and homeowners in Old Ellicott City have to wonder whether they could see more flooding. Now, there is a proposal that might reduce the amount of flood water that flows through Main Street in Old Ellicott City, but it does not have 100% support. WMAR 2 News' Megan Knight is live this morning in Old Ellicott City with that story. Megan, had a public hearing on this issue last night with a lot of people showing up.
Yeah, Christian, it was a packed house for sure, and I can say that everybody in that room agrees that something has to be done to prevent the kind of flooding that we saw down here in Old Ellicott City earlier this year and 2 years ago. But how we go about that, well, that's where people disagree. So they came out to that public hearing last night to talk about what they think needs to be done. This $50 million proposal put forth by Howard County Executive Alan Kittleman includes tearing down 10 buildings on the lower end of Main Street. The county would then create a river walk, which it says would bring flood waters to more manageable levels. The county would spend about $18 million on the first year of the project to demolish those buildings. Officials with Preservation Maryland, though, argue the plan wouldn't reduce flood waters enough to make it worth losing those buildings. Others agree that this plan isn't as solid as it could be, but people like Eli Woodruff, who lives in town with his mom, says they really don't see another option.
I love this town. It is the most charming city that I have ever seen. But if floods continue to happen, there will not be a city left to admire.
I'm not a flood expert, I'm not a hydrologist, but what I can read is a graph, and when the graph says that there's 6 to 8 feet of water traveling at 3 times the minimum safe standard, that's not safe.
And there are a lot of business owners who agree with Eli as well. They've signed a letter urging the county to move forward with this proposal. The county council is planning to vote on this issue sometime next month. We're live in Old Ellicott City. I'm Megan Knight, WMAR 2 News.
I suspect that's not the last we've heard of Eli Woodruff. Megan, thanks very much. Overcrowded classrooms are a concern for many parents, students, and teachers, and how to solve the problem is up for discussion in one of our local counties. WMAR 2 News' Mark Roper is joining us now live with that story from the Baltimore County Public School headquarters. Mark.
Good morning, Christian. Baltimore County Public Schools reached out to parents and students with an online survey and meetings this summer to talk about a problem that they're facing, and that is that Baltimore County Public High Schools are expected to have a shortfall of 1,700 seats in the classroom by the year 2027. And so if you'd like to join in on the conversation and share your thoughts, there's a public meeting tonight at 7 at Newtown High School. It's the first of 3 more public meetings to address overcrowding. And if there's one thing people seem to agree on, it's that there isn't one solution to the problem. Nearly half who responded to the summer survey say the county needs to take several steps, including building new schools, adding on to existing ones, as well as provide space for magnet programs or career technical education. Few are sold on the idea of redistricting, though, while people in southwest Baltimore County seem to be the least sold on the idea. Saving money doesn't seem to be a motivator either, as the survey shows whatever the least expensive option may be, people don't believe that it should be the deciding factor as far as which option is chosen. And another online survey is available today until October 7th. And tonight's public meeting will give people a chance to talk about some of their options in person. We are live in Towson. Mark Roper, WMAR 2 News.
Okay, Mark, thanks very much. It is 6:37 overnight. We got a close encounter with what's left of Tropical Depression Florence in our area. Coming up in about 10 minutes, we'll have a live report from Wilmington, North Carolina. A lot of damage there. Thousands still in the dark this morning. Plus, you normally see mayo and ketchup as completely separate condiments, but could they be 2 great tastes that taste great together? That's coming up 6:37 on your Tuesday. Welcome back in at 6:40 right now. Hitting for the cycle is hard enough in Major League Baseball. Doing it twice in the same season, well, that almost never happens, but Christian Yelich of the Milwaukee Brewers did it. Last night had a single, double, triple, and a home run against the Cincinnati Reds. Yelich had already hit for the cycle back on August 29th. That was also against the Reds, by the way. Only 5 players in the history of Major League Baseball have hit multiple cycles in a season, and none of those were against the same team. The Milwaukee Brewers won that game last night, by the way, 8-0. Okay. Heinz is working on something new. They've asked on Twitter if you wanted a new condiment. Right now, the mix of mayo and ketchup is available in the Middle East, but it's going to come to the United States. They're calling it Mayo Chup. Mayo Chup. It was put out earlier this year. Heinz says if 500,000 people said yes, they would bring it to the U.S., and now there's a new poll that they're running. They've also purchased a little hashtag, so it makes it the top trending hashtag, Mayo Chup. If you notice that, it's just because they've bought that, Mayo Chup, and you put your city after that. So Baltimore, by the way, still has a chance to get the new condiment first. You got to put that in there, and you got till 1 o'clock Wednesday morning to get that Mayo Chup your city vote in there. Lynette, are you going to vote for Mayo Chup?
Still voting. Okay, it's good. Yeah.
Lynette wants Mayo Chup here in Baltimore. It is 6:41 right now. Up next, we'll have a live report from North Carolina as they continue to deal with the effects from Hurricane Florence. That's coming up when we continue with Good Morning Maryland. Okay, welcome back in. It is 6:44 right now. More than 30 people are dead in the aftermath of what is now Tropical Depression Florence. For a look at what the situation is right now in Wilmington, North Carolina, we're joined by ABC News' Emily Rao, who's been there since the storm started. And Emily, this morning there are still thousands of people there that still do not have power.
Exactly right. Hundreds of thousands of people. Christian, good morning. 5 days after Florence has made landfall, the remnants of the storm are still proving deadly. And with some areas blocked off and roads still covered with water, the food and water supply in some places is getting low.
So, Emily, what's the situation with, and it might be difficult for you to answer this question because I know it's tough to move around, but do we know the full impact of this storm yet? So far, we've only seen images from many places with flooded rivers or damaged buildings, but do the state officials there in North Carolina really know exactly how much they're dealing with this morning?
They're trying to get more of an estimate of the damage. It's in the billions already. Some other numbers for you, an exact amount of people that are still without power this morning. It's about 340,000. Yesterday afternoon, it was 500,000, so they're steadily chipping away at that here in downtown Wilmington. Some buildings, we're seeing the lights pop on at the hotel where the crew is staying at. We haven't had power since Thursday morning. In terms of water rescues, they're still ongoing, we're told. At least 3,600 people have been rescued. 300 animals, so all of these water rescues from these floodwaters that are still coming up. And another really notable figure, I thought, record rainfall in both North and South Carolina for a tropical system ever moving through. In North Carolina, it's over 35 inches. So if you think about the typical height of a kitchen countertop, that's 36 inches. So the level here in North Carolina in at least one spot is just right under that. Pretty incredible amount of water.
And over a very wide area. Emily, thanks very much for that live report. Continue to stay safe along with your crew. Thanks very much for helping us out, understanding what's going on down there this morning. And right now, we're going to send over to Chief Meteorologist Annette Charles for a look at our forecast for this Tuesday.
All right, yes, and we're still dealing with the remnants of Florence as well. We did have some nasty thunderstorms overnight, and we could have more as we go through the rest of today. So scattered showers and thunderstorms still possible. We take you outside right now in Bel Air, and we do have plenty of clouds out there right now and wet roadways. Nothing really falling from the sky as of now. So we do have a break, but Main Street is on the wet side of things as of now. We do have those weather alerts because we have the potential for more rain. So more rain equals more flooding across the area.